Finally, sorry for the late start.
Having technical difficulties.
So yeah, America right now is kind of a mess. There was an assassination on Wednesday, and it seems to be all anybody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
It's kind of driving the country insane.
Yeah, it really is.
In many different directions. It's not just right wingers going insane. It seems to be everybody just kind of losing their minds. I'm people are comparing it to the Italian years of lead. I'm Rob Ashlar, our friend, had a good tweet calling it the years of Lard, so I'm going with that for the title.
Yeah, we're stealing your
yeah. So yeah, first impressions basically about this assassination, I guess. Obviously, we have to be careful about what we say because the situation right now is clearly one where the right wing wants revenge, regardless of who did the shooting or what the motive was.
Yeah, it's kind of strange in that way. They totally jumped the gun and were calling for civil war before we had any information.
Right.
And now that it's looking completely inconclusive,
it is absolutely inconclusive, and there's a lot to say about that as well.
It seems that this isn't it's not clear because it's not as if the guy who did it wrote a letter saying I killed Charlie Kirk for X reason.
Right.
People are just kind of patching things together. Seems like he donated to Trump, but then they found shell casings with "Catch this fascist, Bella Ciao," but then others were engraved with Helldiver memes.
Yes. Now, I mean, the only thing we really know about this shooter is that
Helldiver memes are Groper, I guess, Reddit shit. So it's just very confused. It just seems like this guy was very confused.
Yeah, no, he seems very confused. But the thing is, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy guy or whatever, but what if he's a patsy? I mean, I'm not saying I believe that per se, but what if we don't even know if he's the real shooter?
Donald, for your mental health, for my mental health, the mental health of all of our listeners and anyone I care about, let's not entertain those thoughts.
Yeah, let's just assume this guy is the shooter.
We don't have evidence, and as soon as you start entertaining those thoughts too seriously, you go down the rabbit hole. So let's just stick with what we know and not try to make too much of it, because as I said, we're going to go down the...
Yeah, I think that angle of the deep politics side of things, that's going to take years of people investigating things and figuring out, I feel like the details of the shooting are hardly something we're going to really know that much about at this point. I guess we can maybe go into this more earlier. What kind of drives me nuts is how everybody is jumping on it with their political narratives and trying to force them into those political narratives based on very faulty reasoning and very scant evidence.
It's bad. That's a bad signal.
Yes, and it's happening from all directions. It's not just the right wing that's doing it. It's happening from a lot of people, from leftists and liberals as well.
Yeah, it's bad. It's just there's so much going on that's much more important.
Yes, exactly. Well, I think before we kind of dive into the Charlie Kirk stuff a little bit more, I wanted to talk a bit about this leaked plan for Gaza.
Yeah.
That actually came out.
Well, first off, I guess we should just preface all of that by saying Israel continues its wanton aggression against literally all of its neighbors in bombing Qatar.
Yes, they bombed Qatar.
Is a lapdog of U.S. imperialism. There are U.S. bases in Qatar. And they just bombed a sovereign country that's ostensibly a U.S. ally and bombed a Hamas negotiator, someone negotiating. once again showing that Israel has absolutely no intention of negotiating in good faith and gets to just brutalize or do whatever it wants with no repercussions. So that's great. Wow. What do you
Yeah,
even
and
say?
Trump's response was interesting because he was basically like, "Oh, Qatar is our ally. This is not okay. Israel, don't do this." But then he basically says, "But this is good that it's fighting Hamas, and we still stand by Israel in their war against Hamas." So it's just, I gotta say, the guys who've been pushing for the Zionist parastate theory of Israel controlling America definitely had a win with that one. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's yeah, it's utterly shocking. As you said, it jeopardizes the US's relations with Qatar, which is actually very important. It's becoming increasingly important for the US. Um, and I mean, the other thing is how does anyone justify? The person was a negotiator. How do they think this shit's gonna end? It's just like unbelievable to me. I
yeah,
guess they could argue, oh, but we don't negotiate with terrorists, blah blah blah. That's really setting yourself up for nothing but just endless violence, which I guess if you're okay with, that's fine. But yeah, so it's just like Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah, so we should talk about this horrific fucking genocide plan.
hold on a second. Yeah, so
So they can build their garish fucking holiday resorts.
right, so here we go. Donald Trump's vision for Gaza's future. What a leaked plan tells us about U.S. regional strategy. So this is obviously looks like some shitty AI image that they created
Yeah, oh
that
God.
they're gonna make Gaza into. But they somehow got a hold of this leaked plan, and the idea is to turn it into what they're calling the Gaza Reconstitution Economic Acceleration and Transformation Trust, which they're going. It sounds like they're basically trying to do their own version of the Belt and Road Initiative with
But
this Gaza as,
genocidal and shitty.
yeah, basically they're using a genocide as a kind of opening point to build this Belt and Road Initiative, which just sounds absolutely like ridiculous. Like there's no
They-
way that they thought this out very carefully. It seems like they're just kind of throwing this together as Israel kind of plays a vanguard role in throwing the West into this genocidal, strategy of global power. But
the other thing is like that they're gonna try to do a Belt and Road Initiative, but they're just gonna get fleeced by contractors, both
right.
Israeli and American. They're just gonna
So
fleece them for
they're
everything
also kind
they
of
have.
framing it as a consolidation of the Abraham Accords, which is funny. So they're still trying to somehow save that, which
At
is
this
like
point, if
after
it's
they
not,
bombed Qatar and
I mean, Netanyahu literally just gave a speech in Hebrew, which I don't know if they understand this, but people can translate their language, where he said there
yeah,
will never be a Palestinian state.
yes,
So,
yes,
so the fact that you have people in the West in the establishment repeating nostrums about a commitment to two-state is just absolutely laughable, because one of the sides very clearly has made it very, very clear there will never be a Palestinian state, and any attempt to establish one will be met with just fury and vengeance and the destruction
yeah.
of entire cities and the elimination of hundreds of thousands of people. So good luck. Yeah, good luck negotiating any settlement with people like that. Just
Yeah,
fucking,
it's
just really.
okay. So, yeah, I'll consider it. It's for Washington, it serves as a counterweight to China's Belt and Road Initiative, while binding India into the U.S.-led system.
Bro, India's done with y'all.
Yeah, it's like,
They're fucking done, dude. They'd have they would benefit so much more with quote unquote cordial relations with the People's Republic of China. Like, what the hell can the U.S. offer them besides overpriced military hardware? That's basically it, and some kind of intelligence over Pakistan, but even then, not really. Yeah, the U.S. is cooked. They have nothing to offer anyone.
So yeah, I guess they launched this IMEC thing at a summit in New Delhi between U.S., EU, India, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates, and it's one of these big infrastructure mega projects. Israel wasn't a signatory, but I guess they're trying to basically wrap Gaza into this, and I don't think this is. I mean, I guess you can never underestimate the capacity of these Arab states to just completely sell out and betray, Palestine.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They don't fucking give a shit. I mean, to be honest, it is kind of interesting how both Arabs and non-Arabs expect them to have solidarity on the basis of little more than, I guess, an ethno-linguistic connection. But it's kind of laughable to think that that's going to be what dictates like the ruling class's actions is some kind of vague linguistic unity. I mean, my family and I come from that world of Pan-Arabism, so I understand its appeal. But finally, it kind of does show you the limitations of a kind of cultural paradigm of understanding solidarity and understanding collective agency or social agency. What is it? What interest does it serve the Qatari ruling class to show real solidarity with the Palestinian people? What does it get them?
Right, right.
So
yeah,
what are
there's
they
a lot
going to do?
to say about Pan-Arabism. I think we could maybe do an episode diving deeper into the successes, which are very few, sadly, and failures of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it doesn't resolve the political and social problem.
Right? Well, I think because it assumed that there was a natural solidarity among Arabs that would just kind of manifest itself.
And I mean, there is, in a sense, like you do have a cultural connection. You do, I do feel that connection.
Right, but is it enough to build a one state that unifies all Arabs? Like,
yeah, well, that's never going to happen.
Right. So I think the Pan-Arabist project, it kind of softened itself just to a general Arab solidarity rather than the goal of building a single Arab state.
But you need to have a real material reason. To have solidarity. Otherwise, you either really don't care or you fill it with mystification, which Islamism has tried to kind of fill that void, right?
So basically, they're trying to cast Gaza as this Iranian outpost that's undermining this IMEC plan. That's kind of like this counterweight to the Belt and Road Initiative. But I don't actually think that's, it just seems like they're trying to force it into this plan.
They totally are.
Doing, and they're saying, oh, this is actually in our strategic interest. We actually do need to turn Gaza into this port area so that we can do this IMEC thing.
Yeah, they're trying to basically come up with, trying to come up with a reason to genocide the Gazans that seems to serve the interests of people outside the U.S. and Israel, right? They're kind of trying to generate a justification for it that would appeal to the Indians or I don't know who, but it's just...
Yeah, they're trying to make it seem like there actually is an economic rationality behind this, but they're, and I guess in a way...
For the Israelis, there is, right? It's to colonize.
What was that?
For the Israelis, it is to colonize the area.
Right, but for their allies, I mean, there's nothing here for them.
Well, for the U.S., it serves the Israelis, so in a sense, it kind of serves them.
Right.
For everyone else, it doesn't. So they have to kind of lie to everyone else and be like, well, this shit is actually good for you, too. Join in on murdering children.
It's like this idea that Gaza is like an Iranian outpost. Like, it doesn't have sovereignty. It did not have sovereignty before October 7th. Obviously doesn't have sovereignty now. Like the idea that Iran was just flooding it with weapons and turning it into this outpost of terror or whatever.
But also it's very clear that it's the same thing with the Houthi they also have a degree of autonomy. In fact, they have quite a lot of autonomy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The way that people reduce these groups to proxies is just
It's just like
ridiculous.
incredible. I mean, like imagine you did the same thing to the Israelis. They would shut the fuck up. No, we're not the lapdog of the U.S. Well, they're not. But like if you said the same shit, people would immediately be like, no, well, the Israelis have their own interests. They have their own autonomy. Blah blah blah. But of course, Arabs are nothing but playthings of larger powers, right? They have no autonomy. It's just like, yeah, this shit is nauseating.
Yeah, it's like by invoking Gaza's history as a trading route, the plan presents the territory as a natural logistics gateway, poised to thrive once again at the center of a pro-American regional order. So I guess this is
Everyone hates you. It's not going to be pro-American. Everyone fucking hates you. What do they not understand?
and this is wild. The blueprint proposes extending Gaza's port from Egypt's Al-Arish, integrating its industries into regional supply chains and reorganizing its land into planned cities and digital economies. Okay, so it's gonna be like the Sovcore type shit as well. They're gonna be
This
like,
is softcore shit, but
it's gonna be a big playground for all these tech capitalists to build like
dumb
crypto
shit.
cities and all kinds of dumb shit
Just dumb
nonsense.
shit that does nothing to improve human welfare.
And they're calling it voluntary relocation,
Wow, that is what a
which is just absolutely ridiculous and insane.
what a grotesque combination of words.
I know.
What a disgusting combination of like these people are ghouls. These people are fucking ghouls, honestly. I just wish they could spend a single fucking day in Gaza, honestly.
Yeah, I wish we could just fucking drop them out there and let them
Like
fucking
just
experience a
let them
minute
suffer.
of what Gaza has to go through.
Just let them suffer one day of what the Gazans suffer right now. Just one fucking day. This is what I hate about religion. Like, how can you believe there's a moral order when these ghouls do not just daily commit their atrocities and go unpunished? What moral order, like, what sense can you think of? I'm just so angry.
Yeah, I think it's part of the appeal of religion is believing that there is an afterlife where all these guys are going to get their comeuppance, but
Inshallah.
unfortunately I don't believe that's true.
Yeah. Inshallah, like, in a way, some people always ask me, like, oh, do you believe in God and the afterlife? And I'm like, I wish there was a God.
Yeah,
I wish
I wish
there
all
was
these
an
people
afterlife.
dying.
I really wish, because I know that if there was, these people will go to hell, right?
Yeah.
They will suffer for what they've done, but I can't believe it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and all
I
these
wish.
people who are dying for nothing would have an afterlife that wouldn't be, terrible. But in the end, yeah, it's
It's just, oh God. This shit is just
the level of evil that we're dealing with here is just unfathomable. Because I mean, we've all been seeing the footage from what's happening in Gaza City, where they're just blowing up entire buildings. Tens of thousands of people are being relocated into tent cities out of Gaza City, which is already probably like terrible, terrible living conditions there. But now it's just completely uninhabitable. The entire urban landscape is just being completely demolished.
no, they destroyed without massive injections of capital. It's Gaza City and Gaza are no more.
It's just absolutely horrifying.
It's just been leveled. There's nothing. Decades to build it, and there's nothing. And people keep quoting 60, 70,000. It's a joke. A real tally has to be made. We're talking hundreds of thousands. We're talking
it's not 60, 70,000. I mean, obviously that number is absolutely horrible and
they destroyed the infrastructure to be.
But it's worse than that. It's way worse than that. There's no way it's not worse than that.
It's worse. It's in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And
the level of human criminality and depravity and degeneracy that we're going to find out occurred in this war, this genocide it's going to be unfolded over time, and it's going to just get worse and worse as we learn more, I think.
Yeah, and all of the Western leaders should be in The Hague. They should be in The Hague, and they should be hung. To be honest.
I mean, the idea that you can do this to a city like Gaza, a whole area like Gaza, and then call anything that happens afterwards voluntary relocation is just so
Disgusting.
ridiculous.
Disgusting. I mean, there has been the Gazan people show incredible bravery and a deep understanding of what's going on because many have stayed put despite the fact that their lives are living hell. But some have relocated. Some have been displaced from Gaza itself already. Not many, but some have fled, and I completely understand.
Some have managed to, yeah. I mean, it's not everybody can flee is the thing.
Yeah. And some people are also, as I said, very conscious of what the Israelis are trying to do, which is
right. They understand that they're not going to be able to return if they leave.
Yeah, they'll be ethnically cleansed from the place. So they've shown tremendous bravery, but it's just, Donald and I were talking before, and I was like, I just wish I could make these gringos, these Yankees, suffer apartheid or colonialism or any of this shit for one day, just so that they could get kind of a personal taste of the things that they defend. And maybe they would quickly change their tune. I would hope so. Actually, they would. I know they would. But once again, there's no moral order. So these assholes get away with it. I'm just so like, the anger I feel is just incredible. It's just incredible. I fucking hate the American ruling class so much. It's despicable. It's a bunch of ghouls.
Yeah. I mean, ever since Joe Biden started this genocide, basically, I've just been filled with anger and rage, and I don't know what I can do. If I try to donate to relief projects in Palestine, I try to promote them, but it's not enough, and I know that, but in the end, what can we do other than just overthrow our own ruling class and work towards that goal?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when you organize, when you argue for socialism, remember the pieces of shit who defend this order and the sorts of things that they've done. I mean, the first time in my conscious political life that I felt this rage was with Iraq and what they were doing there. And, Bush should be shot like a common criminal and just thrown in a dish somewhere because they destroyed that country and they killed millions of people. And these people arrogate themselves the right to criticize others and judge others and say that their order is the best of all possible worlds. And it's laughable because they're moral, just monsters.
So here it says Saudi Arabia, though not formally part of the Abraham Accord, signaled its acceptance of the overall framework when it backed IMEC. For Washington, Gaza's reconstruction is imagined as the final step in persuading Riyadh to make normalization official, a prize that would anchor the Abrahamic order. The Trump plan is designed to smooth this path, ordering Saudi Arabia a custodial role in Gaza's redevelopment and a lucrative stakes in the IMEC. To make the goal more palatable, it even floats the idea of a Palestinian polity. So, yeah, like, what kind of comprador polity?
Yeah, Saudi Arabia at this point just blow up the whole country.
What the hell, man?
Just Saudi Arabia is just despicable. What do you even say about such? That's not even. I don't even know what you call that rump little. Just disgusting. Just like Haywan, just animals.
Yeah, absolutely despicable.
Just despicable.
So I think but yeah, that's basically what is planned for Gaza by our ruling class.
Just more development. Just the abundance platform
for Gaza,
fucking imperialism. Just build shit. The horizon of human civilization is the dictates of real estate. Great. What a fucking epic journey for the human race.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely pathetic. And so, and we have to remind people that Charlie Kirk was a propagandist for this. He was a
Defense this shit.
propagandist for this. And I know that there are people who
Yeah.
are saying that he was turning anti-Israel and that Mossad killed him for this.
No.
Really is not that much evidence
no.
for this, okay? There's really not that
There's
much.
not.
We can go look at it right now and
There's really
go over it.
Stack up whatever statements people have dredged up with the number of statements he's made about Arabs and Muslims and justifying state violence against them, and you'll quickly find that it's a drop in a sea. So let's not bullshit ourselves.
There was
okay?
one thing from
This is a state propagandist for the greatest purveyor of violence in the world.
Right.
That is daily committing not just crimes overseas, but that is brutalizing entire civilian populations here right now.
That's the thing.
Just give me a break. Give me the moral. This is like, before I just want to say, this is something that I like to say. We live in a Kafkaesque moral universe where executioners, assassins, and thugs arrogate themselves the right to judge violence because they are too cowardly to pull the trigger themselves, while they direct entire armies to liquidate civilian populations. But don't listen to these hypocrites for 1 second, because they are assassins dripping in blood.
Exactly. I'm not, it's absolutely despicable the way that so many liberal commentators, the day after this all happens, they all immediately decide to say that, oh, Charlie Kirk was doing politics the right way. He was trying to just go and persuade people and partake in a democratic debate and society that we all agree in as good liberals. And it's just such a horrible tragedy that he was killed in this horrible act of political violence. And we don't, Charlie Kirk, he was just a moderate. He was just a guy who happened to have opinions, which is just nonsense. That's not who Charlie Kirk was. He was a propagandist and a political cadre for the regime, which right now is deporting people and throwing people in concentration camps for their political views, for the most, ridiculous, smallest offenses. He's basically helping create this Leviathan. He isn't anymore because he's dead, but he was helping create the Leviathan, the MAGA Leviathan that, was already growing, obviously, but is.
And that is now daily financing Israeli genocide. That is in cahoots with, apparently now there are fash biker gangs that are part of the quote unquote Gaza humanitarian relief, whatever, the just grotesque killing squad that is in charge of distributing aid. I mean, come on. That is engaging in, thank God for this book that came on Fort Bragg that is engaging in just assassination and murder.
Nope, we got Joseph on now.
Murder across.
Yeah, figured it out.
Okay, thank God, bro. You can help me. You can help me express my utter rage. It's just everything. I'm angry.
There's a lot of people are just like really like, oh my God, I can't believe how many people aren't upset or are gloating about Charlie Kirk being dead. And it's just, obviously it's not a good idea to post online that you're happy about Charlie Kirk being dead. There's many reasons why that's a bad idea, but I just have no time for the moralizing, to be honest. Because
the moral hypocrisy.
We're watching children being blown up every single fucking day. 100 fucking people are being murdered by Israel, starving to death. We don't even know the total amount of death and destruction that's being meted out by these motherfuckers. Our own country is becoming this Leviathan state that is destroying any sense of democratic rights that we might have had. And, there's going to be more war and destruction. We just blew up, some random Venezuelans, who were,
that was pretty crazy, honestly.
And I don't see anybody saying prayers for them. I don't see any of these liberals talking about how much of a tragedy that was. But for some reason,
Yeah, what about fucking Navy SEALs storming the beaches of North Korea, murdering what are most likely fishermen, and then stabbing them in the lungs so that their bodies don't fucking float to the surface? What about that for political violence? But of course, you don't hear any goddamn moralizing, sententious bullshit about that. Just like, God, just did moral.
It's just this idea that
My ass
Charlie Kirk
works
did
around.
politics the right way, which is like, no, he didn't. He started out as just this young conservative guy who, he had talent as a debater. Some rich conservatives, millionaires, recognized that he had talent, and so they flooded him with money. He started his own little organization. He saw that Trump was a rising star, and he got behind Trump, and he created this very massive and honestly powerful organization on college campuses that had a real base of young people that, created, basically a whole wing of the MAGA movement, and created basically a propaganda empire to help put these guys into state power. You're not just a guy with opinions at that point when you're actually tied to state power to that degree. You're not just some guy who's happens to show up at a bar and spout off some politically incorrect opinions. You are a political operative or a political cadre for the ruling class and the ruling party and the ruling regime.
Yeah, it's infuriating. We live in a moral Kafkaesque universe. As I said, where executioners arrogate themselves the right to judge other people for political violence, but they're literally purveying state violence across the world and brutalizing their own civilian population as well. So, it's I kind of get Sorrell's doctrine on violence now. He's like, oh, you guys are always condemning violence, but you're the violent ones. So let me exalt in that. But anyway, so yeah, maybe we should laugh at the responses. Well, first off, so Ezra Klein, that guy,
is that who we're bitching about, Ezra Klein?
Well, he's one of the idiots who's all of us, coming out of the woodworks to be like, Mr. Jim Crow is doing good politics, Yeah,
so 3 days ago, Charlie Kirk was practicing politics the right way. Oh, it's not paywalled, so I can put it up.
Yeah, is it behind paywall?
Oh wait.
Yeah, let's not break any.
I obviously am not a New York Times subscriber, so
let's not do archive either because we could get in trouble. So, so let's just leave it.
I think we know what he has to say. It's
how on earth.
But New York Times, Ezra Klein, stupid opinion. He wasn't just some guy holding opinions and participating in democracy. He's helping. This MAGA movement basically, destroy any semblance of democratic rights in this country that we have. And the guy, to the extent that he was a victim of political violence, his own movement and his own organization helped create the conditions of this political violence that is blowing up, as many people have pointed out. It's not.
You can't.
Yeah, it's not even. Let's laugh at the chuds.
There's a really funny clip.
You really can't have it both ways. They spent the last 2 or 3 days on Twitter calling for race wars and wars against the left. You can't have it both ways with regards to political violence. You either condemn it or you whatever.
Well,
yeah, they're like it's on. We're leaving Strip Mall USA to find you guys.
Oh, this is good stuff right here.
I'm leaving my TGIF to come get
All
you.
I can say is this is what the fuck I've been waiting on.
You motherfuckers want a war? You fucking got it now, motherfuckers.
I think it's time we get a big group together of like-minded individuals and we start discussing things amongst ourselves, maybe doing a little bit of training.
Hey, Donald Trump, do you think you could maybe whip up an executive order to bring back public hangings so that we all can
why don't we do
get the joy out of watching people hang for their crimes?
That music is so bad.
We're ready. We ride at dawn.
Oh my god, look at the AI Lard.
These guys are fucking pathetic. This is crazy.
I'm so scared.
Behold the power of God.
Imagine like being like, I'm gonna die for some YouTuber with a small face.
That's the thing. Is like the guy was just like a YouTuber who like debated really stupid college kids.
Yeah, he basically summed up his career.
Like that was the subtotal of his contribution.
A titan of political commentary has perished, and it's a guy who yells at college kids.
Yeah, the modern day Montesquieu, bro. Like, give me a break, man. No, so I was trying to explain to like friends in France kind of the the conservative mentality, and I've found it very, very hard to come up with a list of adjectives to describe these people. But the first two that come to mind is they're corny and they're mawkish. They're so like they have this such an epic self-conception. They'll say shit like, we're, just like the Romans, we will storm you at night and eliminate our adversaries in the heat of battle. And it's like, bro, shut the fuck up. You've had like 3 heart stints. Like, you have diabetes. You're losing a foot. You eat. Your diet consists of various forms of processed corn. Like, just shut up. You're not gonna do anything. Okay? Like, it's just really.
I forgot that Jacobin had a take about Charlie Kirk, where they basically did the same thing. Like, Charlie Kirk, this was a tragedy. Charlie Kirk, this is hold on, let me bring it up actually, because they kind of.
Bro, at this point, what happened to Jacobin?
Jacobin is trying so hard to be the Nation.
Yeah, but the Nation had a better take on Charlie Kirk than Jacobin. The Nation had a banger actually about Charlie Kirk. There was like Charlie Kirk was a bigot and a piece of shit and not someone we should.
Oh wow! Okay, well, I take my word back then. The Nation is actually more based than Jacobin right now.
Hell yeah, bro! Hell yeah, bro!
No, but they're very lip brain, I think. Like with
it's Ben Burgess and Megan.
Oh well, Branko Markitic kind of had a banger. Political violence is wrong. Charlie Kirk.
That was not the one I was thinking of. I was thinking of this Ben Burgess and
also like what I'm sorry that statement, political violence is wrong, even according to America's own self-conception, makes no sense. So the American Revolution is completely unjustified.
I mean, a million people have pointed this out, but like you literally called Jacobin. You can't say political violence is always wrong.
Yeah,
I understand. Like, yes, obviously, like it is dangerous. Political violence. There is something to say that it shouldn't be taken lightly, and it is scary. The kind of society that embraces political violence.
No,
it is very scary. You were talking earlier about
it also complicates organizing. Yeah, it complicates organizing immensely. By the way, as leftists, it really.
But I just can only take so much of this kind of moralizing about.
Yeah, this fucking petty and moralizing is just tedious.
I don't.
But that like political violence.
It's terrifying. It's the easiest thing in the world to be against violence in the abstract. Nobody is for violence.
Yeah,
but again, it's disingenuous to say that everyone is, like against, to core political violence. I think everybody has a degree of like. Political violence if it's used by my side essentially for the things that I agree with. I don't think anybody like that whole thing is stupid to me. No one, obviously, everyone is against violence.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you said, like in the abstract, in some kind of like Kantian moral universe, no one puts on their list of 10 commandments, do violence onto others all the time. But then if you ask anyone about is there justified use of violence? World War II. I don't know. Fucking the American. They're going to say yes. So at some point you have to just you have to be realistic. You have to think things through historically and intelligently.
I mean, who does this help exactly
Um,
to say, well, we're against political violence, full stop?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who does it
I
help?
really don't know.
Well,
Except maybe, you know,
I
It kind
the
of helps
state.
Jacobin look like we're the adults in the room, blah blah blah. This is my problem, though. Is they're kind of framing it as like he was killed just for like political expression, just for like having beliefs that were like.
No, he wasn't. It might have just been some deranged guy.
I mean,
you
let's
know,
be
like
let's be very honest. We don't know why that dude killed him. No
Yeah, we
one
don't
knows.
know.
No,
People
we
like
don't.
I,
We don't know.
I really want to just go on a rant about how annoyed I am by people trying to like push their motive onto the shooter based on what they want it to be. But yeah, we don't know why he did it. We don't know anything about the motives. But the idea that like this guy was just a guy with opinions, it's like, well, yeah, Hitler was just a guy with opinions, you know, like if you put it that way.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody assassinated Mussolini, would that have been just, oh, this is an attack on free speech? It's like Charlie Kirk portrayed himself as just this guy who went to college campuses to debate people and have like an open debate. But that's not what he was. You're falling for his self-conception, and you're buying into the self-conception of these guys that the right is presenting as free speech warriors who are just guys who are just neutrally going to a place and having an opinion and presenting it. When, first of all, they're funded by right-wing, millionaires, billion.
Yeah, his whole
He's
shit was
completely
astroturfed.
He was not debating people in good faith, okay? Charlie Kirk never debated
not
people
at
in good
all.
faith. He always made sure what he did was he would just like set up and have like random college kids like, ask him a question. Then he would use that as an excuse to like soapbox about his own opinion. That's not like debate, okay? And
It's not
when it came to actually like being challenged to like real debates, but like he refused to debate Nick Fuentes, who obviously Nick Fuentes isn't someone I support, but like why was he so afraid to debate Nick Fuentes about Israel if he's like such a open free speech guy? Like if he's so willing to debate anyone, why wouldn't he debate him? Why wouldn't he debate Norman Finkelstein? Apparently he refused to debate Norman Finkelstein.
Because Norman
Yes,
Finkelstein
exactly.
would
They
shit
would've-
on him. Because Norman Finkelstein actually knows stuff. John D,
Yo,
bro,
bro,
get a D,
right?
okay?
Go suck a D. How about that one?
Bro, whatever, man. Honestly, I'll fuck
all right,
you
all right.
up.
Be
You know
careful
that.
what we say on here.
Like I find your comment amusing. Go get a life.
Yeah, you're funny. You're a
Yeah,
funny guy.
we're all wearing
Whatever.
dresses behind the scenes, apparently.
Yeah, well, I do. It's great.
Yeah,
It's
apparently,
very comfortable.
I'd be
I
afraid
love
to
it.
do that on stream. Anyway, so yeah,
No, I wouldn't.
the whole idea that he was just this guy who went to debate people, and it's just nonsense. He was
Yeah, it's just
a
infuriating.
provocateur. He was a agitator. He was a cadre of the MAGA movement. He was not just some guy who was debating people. That was something he did. He did debate people. I guess he was going to debate Hassan Piker before he died.
Listen. The main thing to remember, as we were saying, is he was state cadre. He was cadre for a regime that daily exports genocide, murder, assassination, that brutalizes internally its own civilians or citizens. So,
Like,
what more can I say? Moralizing about violence when the man is a perpetrator of it.
It's fucking dumb.
It's just the peak of hypocrisy.
Trump 2028, and you'll still be wearing dresses. Yeah, okay,
Got it,
bro. Whatever.
But yeah, ultimately, like we need to deal with these people in a serious way.
Okay, I am against violence.
Yeah.
Okay.
That means
we all are
fucking
in the
nothing.
abstract.
Also,
we all
also,
are. In the abstract.
You need to actually, if you're gonna say that he was killed for some political purpose, you have to present some evidence of that.
Right. But I mean, in the end, let's face it, I don't fully
literally
disagree here, though, because listen, like in an ideal society, someone like Charlie Kirk would have all of his wealth expropriated and be held account for all of the crimes against humanity that he's helped perpetrate, and the court of law under a socialist.
And if his only sin were just being a dumb bigot who said nonsense, then great. Okay, fine. Let him be a dumb bigot who says nonsense. So yeah, no, that's not true. Lone wolf terror acts can be political even if there's no organization behind it. Also, we have to be very clear what we mean, right? Like people also, this is something about US politics is people bandy around so many terms, not in an analytic way, but just loaded with moral, just loaded with moral baggage. And the term to me, political violence, is just a very weird one because I think what they mean is precisely what NBT is saying, which is lone wolf terror attacks, right? Because taken at face value, as I said, political violence, friends, what do you call a revolution? It's the use of violence to destroy a state and impose your own state. That's literally what the American Revolution is. The Civil War, what the fuck is that? That is an incredible act.
Well, and there was
political
tons of violence leading up to the Civil War. Just read about Bleeding Kansas, John Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
All
So
kinds of slave uprisings.
Yeah, and let's take Jim Crow, the amount of political violence that Black people are subjected to, lynchings of children, lynchings left and right. Oh, and by the way, Charlie Kirk said that the civil rights movement was a mistake. So there you go.
That's not an act. That's not some kind of violence, is it?
No, that's not violence at all, right? Jim Crow. But oh yeah, we should pull up some of the
pull up some of the things he actually said and condoned, and then
oh my bad.
and then we can make.
No, I know you.
No, of course.
Yeah. So I was going to say though, like, okay, so furthermore, the prospect of a descent into tit-for-tat political violence is an ominous development that threatens to narrow the space for meaningful political action. Okay, I mean that is kind of obviously like that is, if we, society does devolve into just constant violence in like a civil war situation, that does, it is scary. There's no denying that.
Yeah, let me be like real, like with people, so people know where I'm coming from. Like my family is Algerian. I'm Algerian. My family, my mom and I, a large part of why we are in the US is because of the Algerian Civil War. In the Algerian Civil War, my family, literally people were killed because of political assassination. They were assassinated for political reasons. So this is not trivial to me. It is scary. We don't want random lone terrorist acts. It doesn't help our side organize. It actually makes things very difficult for us to organize. And so, yeah, I mean, like, let's just be clear on that. Like, I'm not trivializing it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's scary shit. It's scary if you can't go to a meeting, for instance. It's scary if you can't write, I mean, in Algeria, like, let's say you were an intellectual or whatever, and you wrote a piece that was critical of the Salafis. The next day you could be fucking have your throat slit. It's hard to organize under those circumstances. Hard is a euphemism. It's terrifying to organize under those circumstances. So it doesn't, we want freedom of speech, quite frankly. It helps our side organize. The problem is it's being eroded.
Being eroded by the government that Charlie Kirk was a propagandist for and the Padre.
Yeah, and by the very people who claim to uphold it as like you had some fucking chud here saying that he wants a Trump dictatorship, right? So these are the same people who go on and on about freedom of speech. But yeah. Anyways, let's pull up some of this.
I would just say, like, listen, like, yeah, obviously we don't want, wanton political violence and blood in the streets, but this is not really something that we can stop by moralizing about it. It's something it's a reality that we have to adapt to, and we have to be cold-headed and realistic about.
And America is also just let's be honest, it's a very sick society, and just how violent the U.S. is when Europeans hear about it or learn about it, it's just absolutely shocking to them. Imagine explaining school shootings. Like, what the fuck is that, man? Like,
I mean,
We live in such
you know,
a
a school
disturbing
shooting happened the same
society.
day as the Charlie Kirk thing.
Yeah, got pretty much no attention.
And which, by the way, he said that's the price of freedom. Now, listen to his debate bro argument for why it's the price of freedom. He goes, you know, we as a society, we choose to have cars, but there are tens of thousands of people who die every year because of cars. You eliminate cars, no deaths, but we consider that to be the price of the freedom of driving. Okay, two things. One, no one really chooses to drive in the US. Like, it has been designed. The US has been designed so that you are forced to drive if you want to have a quality life or anything resembling a quality life. Secondly, as if owning an AR-15 constituted a necessity, like driving your car. Like, I'm sorry, it is not a necessity. You could maybe argue it if it was a hunting rifle and you depended on hunting for eating, but it's not a necessity like driving it. So it's just like, that's the level.
Charlie Kirk was a professional sophist. Good riddance.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he was.
There's some other clips I want to go for here, but I thought this is just funny right here.
Carlos, have you seen this one?
Hey, I'm from Germany, so thanks for complimenting on our innovation.
Guten Tag.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hi.
Deutschland über alles.
No, not quite.
You don't like your country? No?
I love my country and I'm a patriot.
No.
I love my country and I'm a patriot.
I just don't use Nazi slogans.
Yeah, so for people who might not know, I'm guessing most of our listeners do. Deutschland über alles, Germany above all, is a slogan that is very much a Nazi slogan. It is a Nazi slogan. Like, there's no two ways about it. So, okay, you can take two things from that. Either Charlie Kirk is a moron and doesn't know that, or Charlie Kirk literally thinks Nazism is cool.
Yeah.
What else can you say?
I mean, I think
Those are the
both
only
are
two
probably
conclusions
true,
you can
to be honest. You're a moron and he thinks Nazism is cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. But I'm saying just with regards to saying that statement without any compunction. You know?
But so
It's
one
crazy.
thing about Charlie Kirk is Bone mentioned he started the black pilots hysteria. Because there was one thing that was really messed up that he said fairly recently. I think it was in 2024.
Like the DEI pilot stuff.
Yeah, like
half a year ago.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, whenever I get on a plane, you know, and I see that there's a black pilot, I get really worried that guy's not qualified."
Well, that's on you, bro.
And so he got, you know, I don't know if I have a clip of that one, but the clip I'm actually going to bring up right here is from I think his last debate before he was shot. And it kind of captures everything about Charlie Kirk and the whole like phenomena of his like fake debates, fake free speech, fake everything, and also just horrible racist politics and also just the way that he just, you know, finds like the silliest people to argue with. And
Be respectful, guys. He can do what he wants.
Oh, can I start now? Oh. Nice to meet you, Charlie. I'm a big fan. I think you're a very beautiful man. I admire you physically. But no homo.
See, it's like, you know, you get, you know, people like this who obviously are just trying to like be trolls and not be serious.
I did have a question. Something I don't find very interesting about you, something I find kind of repulsive, is that I believe you said that the Civil Rights Act was bad and that we shouldn't have that.
Okay, well...
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't like you as much as Charlie, though.
First of all, what's your name?
Sorry. I don't want to be, like, filmed and stuff.
Too late.
I'm anonymous, number one. Anonymous guy.
Okay. Well, hello. Nice to meet you, anonymous guy.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, too.
Yeah, I believe in part of the essence of the Civil Rights Act went way too far, way too wide.
Oh, how did it go too far?
Well, for example, it created an entire civil rights leviathan that gave us affirmative action.
Civil rights leviathan? What do you mean?
Yeah, so if you can let me finish three words in.
Sorry.
It allowed the Department of Justice to go after people that have different skin color, a.k.a. white people, and prevent them from getting jobs in college admissions.
You have a job.
I'm sorry?
You have a job.
No, you're right, I do. Right, but just until Trump came around, until the Supreme Court decision, thanks to the Civil Rights Act, if you have white skin color, it's much harder to get into a college than if someone has black skin color. Much harder. You have to get higher test scores. it's a much harder pool, largely thanks to the precedent set by the Civil Rights Act. Not to mention all the trans stuff that we're seeing. We're seeing men be able to win trophies and medals from women across the country, and they use the Civil Rights Act to justify it.
Okay, I think I see where you're coming from. So you think that it's harder for white people because black people they could have lower tech scores again? And
It's not what I think. It's the fact.
That's what you're saying. Okay. All right. Well, I guess what I would say too. I think perhaps you're familiar with the term equity, right? Where different people have different circumstances.
It's
which
Marxism.
leads to different outcomes.
I reject.
Okay.
Well,
Will you reject it or not?
It's
I
Marxism.
think it's a
that's
brilliant
Marxism.
argument, though, Charlie.
Concept in this argument. Because what you have to understand is that when you're, for example, you're born in like a black neighborhood, you're born in like O Block or something.
What's
like
up with this guy, too?
This is the thing, though. Like,
What's up with the
He has an
nonsense
annoying
guy?
tick.
well, that's what you got to understand about
Yeah,
Charlie
he's-
Kirk is
he
like
seems
he
fun.
wants people like this to be the ones who are debating him because they're obviously just they're just college kids who aren't like the most articulate and educated and.
Listen, also debating it's a skill. It's something you practice, right? And if you spend your whole life making sound clip, simplistic, quote unquote arguments, that's all you do, you get quite good at dealing with people who are untrained. It's not that hard, man. Like, people take classes in this shit. People practice this shit, right? So it's kind of like Mike Tyson. I don't want to say Mike Tyson. That's like giving him way too much credit. But it's kind of like a trained boxer sparring a beginner. They're gonna piece him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the nature of having skills in something.
Right.
Facing someone who doesn't. So yeah, I mean, imagine him having to debate Norman Finkelstein on what's happening right now. It wouldn't really be a debate because he doesn't know anything. Like, nowhere does he bring up anything specific, any specific fact, any finding, any statistic, nothing. It's just talking points that you hear in fucking Fox News or whatever. Yeah, it's bro, I would love to have like Mélenchon or something. Like an actual master debater.
Block is?
Just destroy
If you're born there, if you're born in a very poor area like that, with like very low economic opportunity, very, very poor schools with very low ratings, where the average test score is much lower, when you're in that environment, you have the whole system up against you, right? So when you say in that kind of circumstance, when you're facing the whole, I guess, leviathan of systemic racism, when you say that, sorry, let me just finish it. When you say it's fair to, for example, lower the standard because knowing that their circumstances were like that, perhaps based on what they had, what was presented to them, they had the correct amount of merit to get into a school.
Okay, so are you a student here? I'm guessing you are.
Oh, yeah, I'm a student here.
Are you a pretty good student?
Oh, yeah, I would say I'm a good student. I have a pretty high GPA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give your GPA to her because she's a woman of color, please?
Oh, well, you want me to give you a... Well, I mean, I can.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, sure.
You'd be good. You cool with that?
Yeah,
So,
I'm fine. Wait, you mean...
I want you.
Okay, can you just stop this?
Yeah, I mean, I think this gives an idea of like what, like he's making. This is to argue against the Civil Rights Act. Okay.
What a staggering intellectual we lost is what I just realized.
Yeah,
I know.
What a mind. What a colossal.
It's like, well, we have to get rid of the Civil Rights Act because you have to give your GPA to this random woman of color over here because of this.
Which, by the way, is not the
but
case.
like, it's just
what I also love is it's like, okay, what is the net effect of quote unquote affirmative action? The ruling class is predominantly white. Like of all of the people in the Forbes 100 or whatever, is one of them black? Like, what are you fucking talking? The people with genuine power in society. It is still very much apartheid. It's still very much segregated. Like, so I don't understand what he's arguing. You know what it is? It's to try to like argue to the hogs that black people stole whatever from you and get.
And as you said, like
right, and then distract the hogs from the fact that they're being exploited, oppressed, and brutalized by a ruling class that is completely or almost 100% white. So it's just like,
oh yeah, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a white victim narrative where white people are the new victims of this this woke ruling elite that's dedicated to because he was a great replacement guy as well. Like, you gotta understand, Charlie Kirk, like, over the years became more and more far right. And there was a period where he got attacked by other people in the far right for not being hard right enough. And this goes into some of the theories about why he was assassinated that we can talk about. But so I think we got the idea of what is going on, because this is an argument that the right has been making a lot lately, is that like the Civil Rights Act is bad because it creates this woke Leviathan state that inevitably is going to discriminate against white people. And so I think that guy Richard Hanania wrote this book Origins of Woke, that argues that like wokeness or whatever like owes its existence to like the Civil Rights Act. And so I actually do think that like MAGA is basically gunning for the Civil Rights Act and wants to like reverse it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, that was a big libertarian thing too, reversing the Civil Rights Act, because it like overextends the reach.
So the people calling this guy a moderate are just full of shit. Absolutely full of shit.
They're so full of shit. Yeah, we're living just like
but anyway, so I was mentioning earlier though that he kind of wasn't as far right. I guess he kind of did start out, I guess, as a normal conservative. And
wasn't he a
kind of,
libertarian type?
fusionist is what they call it, like just almost like a Mitt Romney type, I guess, like just kind of libertarianist economics, but pro-Israel, pro-war on terror type stuff. Just like a George Bush type conservative.
Yeah, they were in
basically.
part. Yeah, well, they were in part though. TPUSA, where I thought that they had connections to the Koch brothers or the. Koch
I think so.
Network.
I think the Koch brothers did fund them.
I think so. Yeah, so totally astroturfed organization. Wouldn't it be great if Cosmonaut could find a billionaire?
But so this was kind of a turning point, excuse my pun, for Charlie Kirk, was what is known as the Groper Wars.
Oh man, this is so like we need to make like a mock clip, like like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Kind of
Somebody had a good tweet.
But like way less epic and
First Groper War was fought with words. Second Groper War being fought with bullets. I don't know what the third Groper War
with hockey sticks and AR-15s
will be fought with, but the fourth Groper War will be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah. Just the term Groper Wars,
we're living through hell. Absolutely. Yeah. But I want to see who won the Groper Wars.
So basically, Nick Fuentes is a young conservative guy. He starts out in Turning Point USA, but he gets kicked out because he realizes that it's like totally controlled by Israel. And
split.
Yeah, he's like, this is not America first. I signed up for America first, but this is all about Israel. What's going on here? The Jews control all of this. And so he starts his own. He starts his own platform called America First, and he's just this young little shit, Nick Fuentes. He's so annoying, but he is able to build a following of young conservatives through his mix of edgy humor and gamer kind of subculture, and just being totally like he doesn't really lean into like the neo-Nazi stuff. Like he says we need to like kind of dress like normal conservatives and be like, we don't want to like lean into neo-Nazi stuff because that's just idiotic and nobody normal is going to like buy into that. But but at the same time, like we are going to be like basically Catholic fascists. We're going to be anti-Semites. We're going to be
so he's
kind of
like
Francoist. Yeah, he is like a trad calf basically. And we're going to be racist. We're going to say the N-word. We're going to say like super racist stuff, and we're going to shock like the mainstream conservatives. Well, we're not going to be Nazis. We're going to be like we're going to dress like professionally and stuff. But and so they decide to do this thing called the Groper War, where they troll Charlie Kirk, where they go to like his debates and ask him questions that will be like embarrassing. And so he gets all of his followers to sign up and do this. And it's there's some clips where they do it, and it all goes down.
I just can't get
the
over
Groper
it.
Wars.
The Groper.
More aid than we've given to Africa.
Bro, they need
What were you gonna say?
Okay, he's gonna go on about Africa.
More aid than we've given to South America, and more aid than we've given to the Caribbean combined, which is home to 1 billion poor people.
Well, I didn't start at the very beginning.
Sure. So I have a question. So from America First perspective, why do we give $3.8 billion to Israel, which is more aid than we've given to Africa, more aid than we've given to South America, and more aid than we've given to the Caribbean combined, which is home to 1 billion poor people, especially when they deliberately attacked the USS Liberty in the 1970s?
That is incorrect. Do not peddle conspiracy theories in our event. That is not acceptable. Do not say that.
Okay, Dean Rusk disagrees with you, and he was the Secretary of State at the time, but that's fine. And then the second part is also, you have the Apollo incident in which they illegally stole weapons-grade uranium. The CIA has reports on this.
Anti-Zionist,
No, I'm not anti-Israel. I'm just asking from America First perspective because it's not in our interest. They act
Remember
against
the
our
short
interest.
question part?
Sure. I mean, how is it in our interest that we give this money to Israel?
All right, so it's required that they have to buy American weaponry. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, the only place where all 3 monotheistic religions are allowed to peacefully practice. It's the only country in the Middle East where all 3 monotheistic religions are represented in their government. It's the only place in the Middle East that has any appreciation for LGBT rights whatsoever. It's the only country in the Middle East that doesn't throw homosexuals off the top.
Keep in mind, this is before Charlie Kirk became more far right. He was pretending to be like pro-LGBT even at this point. Well,
yeah, but first off, there's like this.
Yeah, it's obviously bullshit.
Dude.
Yeah.
There's so much bullshit involved.
Buildings when they find them. It is the only partner that we have in the fight against radical Islamic terrorism. And the subtext of your narrative could be extrapolated to say, well, why on earth would we have a partner like Israel? Guess what? The world's a better place because of Israel. The medical patents, the technological innovation, the human rights. The one common denominator of Israel since its founding, since Israel was legally founded in the 1940s, Israel has been under attack from every direction you can point a compass at. From the north, from the south, from the east, and the west. And guess what? They have water to the west, and that was even at war with them. And Israel has rightfully defended its borders time and time again. It's an unbelievably complex issue. So you say, how could you possibly believe in an America First policy? Well, I'll tell you what. It's important to have partners in fights against mutual enemies. And guess what? It's Israel that time and time again has stood with America against the mutual enemies and will continue to do so. Thank you for your question.
Yes, and thank you, President Trump, for moving the embassy to Jerusalem, right?
Oh, God.
President Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem.
That's right. All right, we'll do 1 or 2 more. I think we're running.
Direct contravention of international fucking law. Unbelievable. These people are.
I'm starting to think that I think our biggest problem is that we're not allowed. We can't lie.
Yeah, I think
it would be much easier for us politically if we could lie.
If we could just lie. Yeah. Yeah, I want to just as a.
These politics are also inane.
Well, it's funny because this guy comes up and he's clearly like a right-wing Groper guy, but he's correct. like what?
Yeah, he is. I mean, so like a few things. One, like you can't call something a democracy where over 1 million people have no inclusion in citizen or state life and are completely excluded from anything resembling an electoral right. Secondly, in terms of LGBTQ, Israel is becoming more and more right-wing by the day. And as that continues, because it will continue, it will become more and more difficult to be LGBTQ. Yeah. So that's quickly being eroded. Thirdly, Israel doesn't do anything to fight against Islamism because, one, by its very barbarism and aggression against all of its neighbors and internally, it fosters the conditions for Islamism. And secondly, it has directly helped Islamists in the fight against secular Palestinian liberation organizations. It has personally helped Hamas at certain points engage in conflict with Fatah and with the PFLP. So it's just nothing but a series of lies. Just lies. Just some simplistic
it's absolutely
lies.
Ridiculous. I mean, I and it's funny, this is like back in, I think, 2019, 2018 when this is happening. So
Yeah,
you know,
just
this is before a lot of right wingers were starting to
also
talk Israel.
peacefully practice their religion. You have fucking Orthodox goons who daily try to storm Al-Aqsa to fucking brutalize and harass Palestinian Muslims. The same dudes who are also fucking harassing Palestinian Christians. They're also fucking blowing up Palestinian Christians in Gaza. Just like, shut up. It's just so tiring. It's so tiring hearing these lies.
Ohio State University.
So my question is, if the president were to enact a policy that would completely benefit the United States and her citizens, but to the detriment of Israel, would you support it, yes or no?
Well, that's a false choice. Thank you for being here. I get a lot of questions about Israel in the last week. I will not apologize for my defense of our greatest ally in the Middle East.
I will not apologize for my defense of my greatest ally in the Middle East.
I will not apologize for the fact that I defend Israel against its critics both domestically and abroad. And I'm always just very puzzled at times when I get the amount of attention that is on the only democracy in the Middle East, the only place where all three monotheistic, all three
oh my fucking god!
monotheistic
This
religions
lie over and over again.
Hold on.
Are allowed to peacefully visit their religious sites, the place that has respect for human rights, the place that the Knesset has representation for all three monotheistic religions.
Give me the same answer he gave before. It's like so bad.
Not to mention the only pro-gay place in the Middle East,
Well,
by the way.
Yeah, so Rob, let's talk about that. How would most Middle Eastern countries...
You have to keep things simple and repeat. That's very much like, it's something I recommend to anyone who does political rhetoric in public, is just keep it simple and repeat, you know, because that's, you know, there's gonna be a degree of nervousness. There's gonna be emotion. So stick to your talking points. That's his talking point. Democracy, the only democracy.
From the standpoint of propaganda, it works to keep it as simple as possible, to make it transmittable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it works as long as people believe it. I think people just don't believe it anymore. But I think back then people were buying it.
I guess that.
Yeah, people.
I was gonna say that.
Well, people still kind of believe it.
I guess that's something that we should address.
Let's see. You know, they can be like Iran, and they can force gay men to transition into women. They can be like other places in the Middle East where they stone gays to death in the streets, and they throw us off rooftops. And these are very real things that continue to happen. And so when I hear those criticisms of being pro-Israel that are coming from the left, that's really shocking to me. And this is why I call it the intersectionality cult, and this is why I say that intersectionality makes zero sense, because you have so many criticisms coming to Israel from the left, and Israel is the most pro-gay place in the Middle East. It is the only place where gays can be, it is the only place where gays can be open to be who they are without fear of being murdered for their sexual orientation.
And then to just answer your hypothetical,
Clearly never been
concrete
to
example
Beirut,
to this day, if any country would ever support a position that would be against our own interest, I would not support that. However, time and time again, Israel, and Rob, can you second this? They helped you when you were a veteran in Iraq with intelligence, supply lines, medical assistance.
Absolutely.
You know, when you were there. And so they stood side by side our efforts. And look, I was against
they
the
helped
Iraq
dismantle
war,
the most advanced
you know, when our servicemen and women went overseas there. And
they helped you do war crimes in Iraq, bro. You should be...
They helped you bomb Fallujah so badly that the rates of cancer were worse than Hiroshima.
But I think I will point out though, that look at the fact that Charlie Kirk is on stage right now with a gay black guy. That is not something that he would do today.
Yeah,
that guy's absolutely a cuck and absolutely obviously this guy is not like someone who's in his right mind, and obviously he's a fucking idiot. And
yeah, great. Yeah, have a good time.
But the thing is we'll get there.
So I'm answering your,
unlikely. Wait, one thing. Southside is saying. Let me pull it up because I don't even want to paraphrase it. I hate victims who respect their executioners. And the
Ender says they pretty much stopped pink washing, right? You do see less of it, I think, because I think Israel has kind of given up trying to appeal to the left. For
at
the most
all.
part, honestly, like I
And-
think they really are trying to get like the right, and I think they've mostly been focusing their propaganda on the right these days because I think they've just completely lost the left.
The other thing is the inner logic of Zionism, insofar as you're trying to unite very disparate peoples around a project of state building and settler colonialism, you need to find something like an organic tie. And because the quote unquote Jewish people were very dispersed and very different, I mean, an Ethiopian Jew and an Ashkenazi Jew had very different experiences. They had to bring in the mystical tie, the religious tie. And so over time, the religious, the messianic, religious fanatical aspect of Zionism has become more and more pronounced. And that's why the right-wing parties are dominating more and more. And that's why in the future, it's only going to get worse and worse. So, you know, I mean,
yep.
For whatever it's worth, the contradictions on that are broadening in Israel, since there seems to be a lot of backlash against like the ultra-Orthodox not being conscripted for operations in Gaza. So even the secular like Jewish people who are willing to tolerate like the religious hegemony are beginning to become tired of it.
Yeah, and as you know, Buba Scuba also reminds us, the collaboration with Islamists or facilitating Islamists is not something that, you know, ended in the 90s. It continues today, and yeah, I mean they're pretty cool with the new regime in Syria. They've actually helped them in many ways. Yeah, I mean Jelani's.
Here's my sort of rhetorical question then. So what changed with Charlie Kirk? Because here he seems really pro-Israel, and seems recently he's been a lot more anti-Israel.
Well, has he been more anti-Israel recently is the question, I think. Well, let's get to more. There's more of this I want to show because another Groper.
Hypothetical with that answer, and I'll say this as final. I wish that the amount of attention on college campuses, there was 0.1% of the attention on other countries in the Middle East that Israel seems to always get. The only democracy, the only free enterprise country, and the country that most supports values that are closest to America. So
yes.
Thank you so much for your question. We appreciate you being here tonight. So thank you so much. Thank you. We'll go to the next question. Thank you.
Where
I think you need to find
much
Be
more
quick,
than
straight
him.
to the
I will. Somebody outside a protester was asking about the term culture war. Long history started late 1800s. Otto von Bismarck, culture comp. In the late 1990s, mid 1990s, it was reclaimed by conservatives. One of those being E. Michael Jones, who actually started this magazine, Culture Wars magazine, and because of his fantastic work, we now understand. Thank you. Give it up. Because of E. Michael Jones' groundbreaking work, we now understand that sexual liberation is political control. It's a form of political control. And you have multiple times advocated on behalf of accepting homosexuality, accepting homosexual acts as normative in the conservative movement. How does anal sex help us win the culture war?
I'm going to let the gay man answer.
Wait a minute. So can I ask you a question? Can you have the balls to ask the gay man on the stage?
What the... Bro, what did I walk into?
That's the Groper War. That is the Groper War, okay?
Bro, that question is psychotic.
Oh my god, that is... Dude, how do you even, like... What the fuck?
Please,
leave the room
your
for
opinion
1
on anal
second.
sex, please.
Come back.
We need it.
How does anal sex win the culture war? I'm gonna let the gay black guy answer this one.
Dude, this is too
okay.
good.
So,
oh my god,
yeah. So this is basically what Nick Fuentes almost kind of got famous for too, was like having his followers like go and like ask questions like this, and I think it actually got Charlie Kirk to move harder to the right.
Yeah. Well, he probably also, one thing opportunists are very good at doing is just more or less tailing and regurgitating kind of the present moment. And so insofar as he probably saw that a lot of the right-wing vanguard was going right, he said, shit, okay, I have to, I have to follow them.
Exactly.
And then mirror back what they're thinking. So I think that's probably what happened more than anything, more than Nick Fuentes forcing him. I think he kind of saw that
Right.
the
But
winds
I
were
think this
shifting a
was the
certain way.
beginning of him seeing that the winds were shifting, I think.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I think in general, like you were saying, when Trump first came around, it was a lot of these kind of fusionist libertarian types that constituted the vanguard, kind of, so to speak, of the right wing. And as shit's gone crazier and crazier, they've followed it. Whatever libertarian pretensions they had, that's basically out the window.
Yeah. And I think
although that is something that's something that's interesting is all of his shit is about culture war nonsense, right? For the most part. What the fuck did he think about, you know, capitalism and what kind of capitalism should be in place, et cetera? Is he I think he's probably still really
there's actually a clip where he calls for like a debt jubilee, like weirdly enough. Like and so people were like doing like Charlie Kirk communism thing because yeah.
That's hilarious. What do you
Hold
mean?
on, I'll find it in a second.
Way
But he was obviously pro-capitalist. I mean, he talks about free enterprise and all this stuff. But
yeah, this is nuts. This shit is crazy.
Yeah, so hold on.
Stage that question and don't defer to him. So ask me that question. I will answer you that question. I'm gonna answer you. You already asked the question, so I'm gonna answer that question. I'm gonna ask you that question. This is America. This is the greatest freaking nation in the world. We realize that America is great because we have Western values. We realize that, let me finish, dude. We realize that gays and lesbians are able to contribute to American society in the same way that everybody else is. And let me tell you, when you continue doing that, okay, you realize that we are here. We are able to do everything. And let me tell you something as well. I served in the military, right? I served 5 years. I did an Iraq tour. What's up?
No one gives a shit, bro. No one gives a shit. This fucking troop worship.
Who said homosexual sex helps you win the culture war?
The question that I'm asking, why are you promoting it?
Well, it's a BS question, and you know it is. It's a question that is not it's not a good faith question.
So I'm
it's
gonna
not
be
a good faith question.
Rob, like honestly, I don't care what two consenting adults do. So that's
this is, I think we've seen enough of this and get the idea of what this was all about. But I think Charlie Kirk, he was a figure that was able to mediate between the kind of fusionist conservatives and these people, the Groper freaks who want to ban homosexuality. They want to, basically institute like a theocratic state full on. And he was kind of the guy who was able to kind of mediate between them, I guess, is kind of what he was trying to do here.
That is, wow, that's great.
And so this is why some people are speculating that the shooter was a Groper, was a follower of Nick Fuentes, was one of these kind of right-wing edgelords who thought that, who was disappointed with Trump, thinks that Trump is controlled by the Jews, thinks that Trump is just basically a proxy for Israel, because he basically is. And so they're mad at Trump for betraying the MAGA revolution that they wanted, the America First revolution, and so they went and shot him. But the evidence that he's actually a Groper is actually kind of scant, I will say.
Yeah, I don't think we know enough, to be honest.
We don't know enough, and I really wish that people would stop jumping to conclusions. Like, it's fine to speculate and throw ideas out there as long as you're like open about that's what you're doing. But like, I checked on Blue Sky to see what it was like, and it was just almost QAnon level like delusion. I feel like everyone was just like absolutely 100% convinced that the shooter was a Groper and that they killed Charlie Kirk. The motive was because Charlie Kirk wasn't far right enough, and that this was like entirely like the doing of the far right, and that there was like, no way that, And we just don't know enough to say.
Yeah.
Like all of the evidence that has been used to portray the shooter as a Groper is just not conclusive at all.
We don't know. It's not even worth like speculating until we know more, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of fake information being put out there. There's rumors. There was a rumor that the shooter was trans. The shooter clearly is not trans. Now there's a rumor that the shooter had like a trans girlfriend or something. I don't know if that could be completely fake. There's so much fake information.
There's so upset.
There's just so much fake information out there.
They're just.
I mean, I think everybody has their own conspiracy theories, because the other big one is that Israel killed them.
Yeah, the big one is that Israel killed them, and I think we should go into this conspiracy theory because it is really popular.
I mean, what's it called? Didn't Netanyahu was like, we did not
Netanyahu literally had to say, "We did not kill Charlie Kirk."
It wasn't us this time.
Yeah, like
we definitely didn't do it, bro. Isn't it kind of weird that the head of a genocidal state has to
not this time, right?
Say he didn't kill a YouTuber? Like, what reality are we in? This shit is just
here. This is like Jackson Hinkle, for example. He's one of the guys really pushing this Mossad killed Charlie Kirk thing, and.
About the tragedy involving Charlie Kirk this week in Utah. Now, TikTok is now threatening to ban my account with 600,000 plus followers.
Isn't Radiohead a sign? Don't ruin Kid A. I love
Radiohead.
Kid A.
Already kind of ruined Kid A, bro. But why are they? It's so random. I'm sorry. No, it's a good album. Don't get me wrong.
TikTok is now threatening to ban my account with 600,000 plus followers over the allegation that I spread misinformation about the tragedy involving Charlie Kirk this week in Utah. Now, I'm not silly. I was very careful about how I chose my words in the videos that I made when I was covering this incident. So it's clear to me that the effort to silence me is an effort to silence a conversation that is being had outside of the pre-programmed scripts of the mainstream media. The questions that we have asked and the lies that we have exposed have been viewed by millions and millions of people, so much so to the point that world leaders have had to address the things that we are saying, albeit they have not done a good job of addressing our concerns. As someone who's been banned from various platforms before, including YouTube, Venmo, PayPal, WhatsApp, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and many others, this is nothing new to me. The reason why we are being targeted is not because we're saying crazy things. If we were saying crazy things, the powers that be would not be threatened by us. The reason why is because we are simply putting forward the truth, and a lot of people don't like that. I love the fact that Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Harrison Smith, Cernovich, The Gray Zone, and many others have come forward over the past few days to expose the fact that there was a deep and dangerous struggle for the truth that was ongoing behind the scenes being led by Charlie Kirk, and I am going to continue the plight for truth that Charlie was leading by trying my best, despite the best efforts of the censor, to get that truth to all of you. Thank you so much for the support, and be sure to follow me on Twitter, where you will find minute-by-minute updates on the biggest breaking news stories of the day, including the events that are unfolding right now as a result of the tragedy this week in Utah.
So that doesn't actually explain why he thinks why Israel did it, though. But they're claiming now, though, because he exposed Israel, that they're censoring him.
Yeah, I read a Gray Zone article. I think.
Okay, yeah, let's bring up the Gray Zone article, because that probably has the actual.
Get that. It has more details and actual claims, like that Netanyahu tried to fund Turning Point USA and that he refused.
Yeah, so I heard that was actually not true, and that they were getting like funding from Israel after all. Turning Point USA.
Oh, really? Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, they pushed the line, so why
would
they give them?
Hold on, let me bring up the Gray Zone article.
Is that who I think it is?
Yeah. Whoever that is.
Is that Tim Dillon or whatever his name is?
Yes.
What the dude, what?
We're in hell, Jamil.
Hell,
They got the
bro.
comedians running straight propaganda now.
Yeah, let's watch this. Max Blumenthal's a gray zone guy, and he's
Does the president of the United States fear for his life?
Yes. Yes. I mean, obviously he fears for his life. And I was told that he feared for his life for 42 assassination attempts, one coming within a millimeter of striking his head. I mean, let's not forget about that.
But I mean, just to clarify, he doesn't fear for his life because of Ireland.
I mean, I've been told, yes, that Israel is a major source of concern for Trump. I mean, think about it.
Who told him this is our ally?
If he suspended arms
confused.
to, if he suspended arms to a country that carries out assassinations all across the globe, that specializes in assassinations, that has an entire wing of its intelligence services that conducts assassinations, including with household goods like pagers, would you not be scared? So yes, Trump is scared. And what I learned from this source, who is a Trump insider, someone who talks to who talks to people in the Oval Office, people close to Trump, is that during one of Netanyahu's many visits to the U.S. this year, some figures in his retinue, Israeli agents, placed electronic devices on emergency response Secret Service vehicles. The Secret Service found them and they reported this to the White House. You know, these would be emergency response vehicles that would respond to an incident potentially involving the president.
So that was more about Trump than about hold on, I got the Gray Zone article up right here. Okay, they're never gonna tell us who really killed Charlie Kirk.
Bro, I was hoping we'd only spend so much time on this shit, and now it's nothing but this.
Sorry, man.
Donald, you're like the Cheshire cat for me. You're taking me down
the rabbit hole, man.
You really are, man.
Okay. Charlie Kirk refused Netanyahu funding offer, was frightened by pro-Israel forces before death, friend reveals. A Trump insider and longtime friend of Charlie Kirk tells the Gray Zone how the assassination of conservative insiders' turning point on Israeli influence, provoked a private backlash from Netanyahu's allies that left him angry and afraid. But the source said anxiety spread within Trump administration after an apparent Israeli spying operation was uncovered. So apparently Kirk warned against the bombing operation in Iran. Charlie was the only person who did that. That's not true, actually. No, I think even J.D. Vance was kind of skeptical about the bombing Iran.
Yeah, I feel like it. Well, I don't know. I kind of forget how that went down.
I mean, I think Israel kind of had to push the U.S. into doing
My feeling is it might have even been Israel did it, and then after the fact, Trump said, "Oh, I agreed to it," just to not lose face.
So, and this is all based on an anonymous source from the Gray Zone, so take it with a grain of salt. But
yeah, I mean, take it with it, a giant boulder of salt.
But so the source believes the incident confirmed in Charlie Kirk's mind that the president of the United States had fallen under control of a malign foreign power. So there's one anonymous source who claims that Charlie Kirk was having second thoughts about Israel, I guess.
Yeah, well,
I got money from the David Horowitz Freedom Center.
Yeah, I mean, he repaid his wealthy. Yeah, I mean, he did,
Yeah.
Really?
No doubt that, they got their money's worth.
One thing I love about these guys who are always complaining about, Salafis and shit, is they never met one in their entire fucking life.
Yeah.
It's not an organic thing here in the U.S. for the most part.
Yeah.
So it's just hilarious to me.
Apparently, he questioned whether the Israeli government allowed the October 7th attacks to proceed. Let's look at this clip. Let's see what he actually says.
Did he? I don't believe it.
Let's see what he actually said.
Still have the same gut instinct.
What I want.
been in Israel
Oh my
many
God.
times.
What's
The
this
whole
guy's
country is
name again?
fortress. When I first heard this, I've been in Israel many times.
What's his name? Patrick Bet David, I think.
Yeah, isn't he like Iranian or some shit?
He's some douchebag.
He is Iranian descent, though. I think his.
I've been in Israel many
family came
times.
over.
The whole
No, wait,
country is
wait,
a
wait,
fortress.
wait. I did hear the Chapo review of his book, and it sounded like bird brained.
Yeah, I bet it's terrible.
It was so mental, like it was so stupid. Yeah,
I've been in
anyway.
Israel many times. The whole country is a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct that I did initially.
Bro, he
I
looks
find
like a
this very
fucking
hard.
Mormon. He looks like
I've been to that Gaza
Moral
border.
World.
You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier. Right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order?
No,
Was
I
there a
think
stand down
Netanyahu
order?
is just incredibly
6
good at
hours?
seizing on
I don't
the
believe it.
moment
Israel's
to
the side
survive.
in
That's
New
like his
Jersey.
whole
When I
mode
took a
of
helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools and by report.
I mean, it's got a point there. But that was a while ago when he said that. That wasn't like some new development.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts, dude.
That was on okay, so he did ask that question. He did say, oh, maybe maybe there was they let it happen, I guess that's the term. I guess he did wonder out loud if Jeffrey Epstein was Keith Woods.
Little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who is obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Yeah, including the guy that you fucking shill for, you dumbass.
Yeah, that's the thing is like a lot of right wingers were saying that about Epstein. They were just leaving out like key details because they didn't want to actually implicate their own bosses.
Didn't Rolling Stone or some magazine do a profile a long time ago, like less than a year ago where Jeffrey Epstein was talking about Trump being one of his best friends, and Jeffrey Epstein was describing all of the weird cuck shit that Trump was trying to do. Like, he would invite his friends' wives and then put them on the line, and then Trump would call up the husband and be like, yeah, I got these girls if you want to go, do whatever with them. And then he would try to use that as ammunition to sleep with the wives that were listening to the call. Just crazy. Just what a mindset. Like, wow.
So I guess what they're saying is he had there was this conversation with Megyn Kelly, which I saw a clip from it, and there was just like some stuff like, oh, some people say you can't criticize Israel, but I'm pro-Israel, but I'm not going to let anyone tell me what I can say, so I only say what I say about Israel because it's what I believe or whatever. And so it wasn't really that crazy.
Okay, listen, I mean, we don't know. How would we know?
Well, what I find interesting is the people who are pushing this theory and why they're pushing it. Why is it Jackson Hinkle pushing this theory so hard?
Well, I think because people are very troubled by, two things. One, maybe they have something resembling a conscience, so they can't fully justify or rationalize Israel's conduct. And two, they need to come up with explanations for why, in some way, the U.S. state and the U.S. ruling class isn't a full participant in these events. That, in other words, America is to some degree absolved because it's infected with the Zionist virus that's making them kill children.
Right.
So, I mean, it kind of seems like just another way of rationalizing what's going on to absolve America of sin. I don't know. I mean,
they had this guy, Dave Smith. He's like a pro or an anti-Israel libertarian speak at the Turning Point USA conference. And I guess that...
Yes, it was a horrible day, and the world feels for those civilians. But at the same time, you have to know, if you're Israel, that the way that you respond to this is going to be how you're characterized in the international community. And so you would at least make some effort to not kill so many civilians. You can't, dude. Smotrich, the finance minister, was bragging for 3 months that not 1 ounce of grain would get into Gaza. Well, Hamas has all the food.
They're firing rockets from
Hamas has all the... Dude, you interrupt every 2 seconds, dude.
Please, let him...
Hamas has all the food they need. This is a war on the civilian population. And then, as is reported, admitted by IDF... By the way, this is admitted by the Israeli government. You can say whatever you want about Haaretz. They denied that they gave the orders, but they admitted that it was the IDF who was shooting at those people. Then after you deny the civilians food for 3 months, then you start shooting at the people who are desperately trying to get some food for them and their kids. So no, listen, I'm sorry, and I guess I am partly rejecting the premise of your question, but let me just say it like this, Charlie. If you're pro-life, and you say
it's a stupid argument. You should not buy this.
Guys, let Dave finish his sentence.
Shut up, bro. It's not. It's a stupid argument. It's a stupid argument. You haven't heard the argument. What's the argument that's stupid?
Dave,
you're not pro-life.
Guys,
no. What's the argument?
It's Hamas that is not pro-life.
What's the argument? You just called stupid.
Dave,
what's the argument? Hold on 1 second, Charlie.
People don't
what's the argument that you?
Okay. To watch, okay.
What's the argument that you called stupid?
Why don't you finish it, Josh?
Because he doesn't even know what it is. He interrupted me before I even said it. Okay. Here's the argument. If you're pro-life, it's not incumbent on you to have a plan for what the mother ought to do with the baby. Like, you don't have to have a plan for daycare and college funds and all that. You just say, hey, I think this option should be off the table. I don't think you have the right to murder the baby while it's inside of you. Likewise, I'm not saying I have to have the perfect plan. If we had more time, I could expound on what I think they should have done. But how about don't deny 1 ounce of grain for 3 months and then shoot at the poor people who are trying to get food?
Josh,
how about you take that option off the table? Is that argument stupid, Josh?
Dave, Josh.
It is stupid.
I mean, yeah, but he's talking to a right-wing audience, so obviously he's trying to play to his base.
Yeah, play to the hogs.
played to the hogs. But I think like the fact that like I actually didn't mean to exit out of that, but like the fact that like a bunch of like people cheered to that, like I guess the theory is like Israel freaked out about that and decided they had to kill Charlie Kirk because
I don't see that.
I don't buy it. I listen. There's no evidence actually linking the actual shooting to Mossad. Like
None.
there's all circumstantial. It's all speculation, and I think people need to be a lot more careful about.
Also, like if entertaining ideas that the IDF and the Israeli government didn't like meant you would be assassinated, Candace Owens would have been assassinated a long time ago because she's been way more critical and way
that's the thing is
also a public figure.
Candace Owens is actually one of the sources in this story.
Yeah, so why would they shoot Kirk and not Candace? Right? It just doesn't. There's definitely more open public figures of similar stature in terms of like, you know, exposure or whatever who are more critical. So why him? You know.
Yeah, she says, I think in the end, Charlie was going through a spiritual transformation. Candace Owens, conservative.
What, becoming a fucking Nazi? Like, what
I know, he was going through a lot. There's a lot of pressure, and it's hard for me to watch these people who are pressuring him to say the things that they're saying. Okay, but listen. Okay, he was doing all of that, but let's look at, like, a video he made, like, 5 days ago. 5 days ago after Israel bombed Qatar. This is what he was saying with Ben Shapiro.
Oh, don't
let your patriotic values guide how you invest your money in bombed Qatar, which houses a lot of Hamas officials. What happened here? And if I were to introduce just the skeptical question, will this potentially endanger America's own interests in the Middle East? So please, Ben, help me better understand the situation.
Sure. So I think that the lead up to understand here is that Qatar sort of plays both sides when it comes to its negotiating stance between Hamas and Israel and the United States. So it has provided extraordinary material support to Hamas directly, billions of dollars in material support to Hamas. The leadership of Hamas have been living in Qatar for years at five-star hotels. Hamas's priorities have been pressed by Qatar in negotiations multiple times. Qatar has not put significant pressure on Hamas in the past to release the hostages or to end the war. And so basically, as Israel nears the end of the war, which is what this last movement in Gaza City is supposed to be, that there was a final offer that was put on the table actually by the Trump administration that essentially said that Hamas should release the remaining 48 hostages, meaning 28 dead bodies and 20 alive hostages, and the United States would then guarantee, through its own honest brokerage, some sort of end to the war that would result in the disarming of Hamas and the movement of the Gaza Strip to presumably some sort of coalitional government supported by regional states and the rebuilding of the area. And Qatar was pushing Hamas, apparently, we heard. And Hamas this morning in Arabic actually rejected it. That's not been widely reported by the media, but it's true. Hamas actually rejected the American offer. The president had put out via Truth Social a statement saying, this is your last chance. And if you don't do that, bad things are going to happen.
No, he's just straight fucking lying. Very often
Hasbara right here.
No,
okay, everyone watching.
Like generally what it's been is there's been a deal on the table. Hamas agrees to it, and then Israel all of a sudden puts insane conditions at the last second.
Yes.
Like conditions that are like, we want every single person who's ever met or is part of ever met anyone in Hamas or has been in Hamas to just throw themselves in a wood chipper. Like that's the kind of fucking. It's not a negotiation. It's not a good faith negotiation. So no, this is total fucking bullshit. Even a lot of Israeli negotiators have stated that. They keep doing this over and over again. There's a deal on the table. Hamas agrees to it. And then at the last second, Israel puts absurd fucking conditions that no reasonable person on earth would agree to.
So, yeah, basically he has Ben Shapiro on his show to spew a bunch of Hasbara after
just lies.
That the United States was at least given the heads up on the Israeli operation in the moments before it went.
I just spent time in Japan, and one of the things that kind of looms over Japan is that Japan, they engaged in an unconditional surrender, that they said, we're done. And they laid down their arms, obviously, after the 2 atomic bombs. Very controversial. People have mixed opinions on it. I certainly do. But that it is unconditional surrender. Is that what Israel is aiming for here? I suppose that is a question that I get a lot on campus. What does success look like? Because I think we could all agree a long war is not good for Israel. A long, drawn-out war, and we're coming towards 2 years in about a month. So it's been about 23 months. So what does ultimate success look like in the Gaza Strip?
Now, my main critique of the Netanyahu administration in Israel and the Netanyahu government is they didn't move faster. I think this should have been a much more accelerated process. Israel set out at the beginning of this war.
This is the kind of criticism of Israel that these people are having. It's not accelerated enough. They're not doing the genocide fast enough.
Just unconscionable, man.
Yeah. It's just sickening stuff.
Or with two goals articulated by the...
I can kind of, like, I could generate arguments to try to justify this, but I mean, I don't know how they rationalize this shit, to be honest. It's just...
So that's the current situation on the ground.
What other feedback or criticism would you have about this situation? I know that it's impossible for anyone to listen to everything that you ever say, but looking at this from an American perspective, what else would you say things could have been handled differently? Maybe on the PR front, maybe also just on a conduct front. Where would you say, as an outsider, things that could have been handled better, more efficiently, or with more precision?
So number one, there's no such thing as a perfect war. So obviously in any war, there are going to be things that happen that are ugly and that are terrible. And that is why war is a terrible thing. As far as a sort of operational front, again, I've spent an awful lot of time in Israel. I've watched tape of operations happening, drone operations. I've met with an enormous number of Israeli soldiers, young men and women, people who are 18, 19, 20 years old, who have had legitimately their limbs blown off going house to house in an area where they didn't have to. The charge that Israel has been indiscriminate in its use of force in the Gaza Strip is an absurdity on its face. Israel has complete air superiority over the Gaza Strip. If it wanted to level the place and turn it into a parking lot October 8th, it certainly had the military capacity to do so. It has not done that. Instead, it has sacrificed legitimately 1,000 of its own young men, particularly in these areas, and thousands more who are wounded for the rest of their lives, going house to house in an attempt to prevent all that, and is currently shipping in 4,400 calories per day per person into the Gaza Strip, much of which is then stolen by Hamas. So that is not to say that any war is perfect. This war has been conducted in about as meticulous way as any urban war in history. Just because war is ugly doesn't mean that it's being fought wrongly. And I think that the main mistake that Israel has made is misunderstanding how public relations works in the sense.
That's enough. But basically, like, okay, so you're going to tell me...
I don't get paid to do this, and you make me listen to execrable fucking little goblins.
Right. So I guess, like, would Israel really kill a guy? Like, when he, like 5 days ago, he was just letting Ben Shapiro come on and just like spout like Hasbara completely challenged. When, like, okay, he let Dave Smith come to Turning Point USA, and like maybe he had like some like minor reservations about Israel. Like maybe Israel is that insane and they would kill a guy for that little. But like, I'm gonna need a lot more evidence to take that.
Would they kill someone for doing nothing? Yes, they would.
Yes.
Would they do it in this instance? Probably not. I don't see how it serves them. He's actually a very useful, font for their fucking bullshit. As you just said, he just had Ben Shapiro on to spew a bunch of nonsense. So, no, what? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody seriously believes it was Israel. It's just that everybody has to grasp the conspiratorial explanations now because everyone's brain has melted in the last few years.
I mean,
politics is we're like, this is post-truth politics. Every single event in politics now has a conspiratorial explanation. Every single one.
Yeah.
Bro, we're all losing our minds.
I mean, I think what we need to pay attention to is like the political fallout from this, and who benefits. And I think who is going to benefit is going to be the Trump regime.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, in 1 week, people are going to forget about this asshole because the news cycle will just pump out some new absurdity that will get everyone's paranoid conspiratorial minds on overdrive.
The other conspiracy is that he did it to distract people from Epstein. So you're right.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's the other theories. I mean, it is kind of distracting people from Epstein. But...
Yeah, but that shit's not going away. Also, it's kind of on, if anyone has the platform and the infrastructure to keep that an issue, it's the libs through CNN and NBC and the Democratic Party, they could keep just harping on it. Will they is the question. If they were smart politically, they would, but we know that's not the case. So they're probably going to just let that dissipate into the fucking ether, and all our goldfish memories will be wiped. Yeah.
Remember the second Trump assassination?
I forget that happens like all the time.
Yeah. They shot his ear. God damn it.
I don't think they're gonna let us forget this one though. They're going to make like so much noise.
Yeah, seeing like all the did I show you guys the videos of like Charlie Kirk with Jesus? Of course, it's white Jesus.
AI generated Jesus slob.
God, yes, like the white Jesus shit. Yeah, no, I know. Like it's
That's
white
insane.
Jesus looking like Fabio, fucking hugging Charlie, telling him it's gonna be okay. You know, bringing him to heaven. Oh my god, we're just.
Yeah, bring that up so we can show it before.
Wait,
we
yeah, I don't. I think.
Yeah, you got to see it because it looks psychotic.
It's literally insane,
bro. All AI shit just looks like someone's fever dream.
I know, man. We're really.
It is the worst use of AI. Is the slop.
The best use is, I think, what I use it for, which is just to look up formulas in physics and nothing else.
Yeah. Well, there are good uses of AI. Don't get me wrong. But
I also love the quote that they put up. Just like open this shit up. This shit makes me laugh so hard. They're so overly sentimental. It's
sometimes I fall to my knees and pray.
Overdosing on kitsch. God.
Come, Jesus, come. Let today be the day.
I don't understand how anybody can like seriously be sad at something like that.
I mean, like, yeah, there's just some fucking guy just weeping when he sees that.
Like trying to remain solemn during something like that is impossible.
Yeah.
The guy looks like
he looks like Jared Leto, bro. He looks like Jared Leto. What the fuck?
He looks like what's his face? What's his name? What's his fucking name, bro? From Star Wars, the first one.
The guy who plays Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
Exactly what. Dude, oh my god. It's
Ewan McGregor, right?
Yeah, he looks like if Ewan McGregor just grew out his hair a little more. It's just like too much, the tunic and everything. Like,
bro, the single
yeah,
teardrop on Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, he's like, fuck, bro, this guy, man. He was a real one. Nah, it's ridiculous. They're so stupid. Just seeing shit. And did you see the caption? I know this is AI, but like, what else
would it be? Did you hand through this with so much skill and talent? You know,
like someone from National Geographic went up with the fucking handheld and filmed Jesus on the cloud hugging Charlie Kirk. Like, what else could it be? Like, it'd have to be some kind of CGI.
No, man, that was really Jesus.
It was really Jesus. White Jesus is wild to me. It's really wild for me.
Yeah.
Like how anyone can think he looks like a guy from Milan. You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't unbelievable to me. Like,
I mean that guy looks like a hippie that you would meet like in Seattle or something.
Yeah, exactly.
In some like homeless tent encampment.
Yeah, exactly. Poor guy, you know. But man, we're really like. I keep repeating it over and over again, but our reality is being Thomas Pynchonized. We're just all living in crying a lot now.
Yeah.
And you better get used to it. As a matter of fact, we might even want to think about doing an episode on Thomas Pynchon novels in the 1970s.
That'd be fun.
And yeah, what is that very famous of American Politics by Hofstadter?
Oh yeah, Hofstadter. Yeah.
Is you think I haven't read it, but just the title.
That'd be fun to do an episode on, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that just the title of it might be really useful to understand the kind of ideation that is infecting American society.
Yeah, well, because there are real conspiracies happening, right? So it's like whenever something like this does happen, you always have to like the parapolitical element always does come in.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there is conspiracy in history; it's a fact. Like
you can't say that there isn't after Epstein.
No, there's conspiracy in history, obviously.
You just need to be scientific about how you investigate it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the Epstein one is actually like, come on, like it's weird.
No, it's the most plausible conspiracy.
And you know, Zionists love to engage in conspiracies. Zionists love assassinations. They love conspiracies. They love to they love doing this kind of stuff. So I mean, I understand why people are jumping to Mossad as a culprit, you know, but I just don't think the narrative makes sense. Like, I don't think the facts around it are lining up, and I don't think there's any like evidence about the shooting that's like pointing to it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But the fact that people sort of jumped on Israel as the first explanation should tell you a lot about what's happening in people's heads right now.
It does. It does show you that Israel is on everybody's mind as like the ultimate evil in the world. That's like behind every like thing that happens.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I gotta head out. But
all right, guys. Yeah, it's good 2 hours.
Let's call it.
I hope people enjoyed our episode. I was adamant that we should talk about other things, and we did briefly, and then just talked about
I don't even get
talk about it, bro.
This is the biggest story of the week.
Unfortunately.
Why would we not?
Yeah. Well, you know, we'll see what happens next. You know, we'll see what happens next.
Well, join us next week when the next political assassination brings us all together.
Yeah, basically.
We'll be covering these weekly now.
Every week is Charlie Kirk week now. Watch clips of Ben Shapiro doing Hasbro on Charlie Kirk just being, can you explain how this is in America's interests?
Yeah, basically. And then you'll slowly watch my soul die.
Yeah, it'll slowly kill you.
Yeah, it'll slowly kill me. Anyways, thanks for joining. We really appreciate it. Check out Cosmonaut magazine. We've got some new merch.
Yes,
Buy
please
some
check
of the
out our
merch.
merch,
Check us out.
Because we need money, because we're not TPUSA.
Yes,
we
we don't have that
us.
Netanyahu money coming in.
Yeah, we can't. So, and check us out on Twitter, and you know, we're trying to get this more popular on YouTube.
So yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube. Please.
Yeah, please subscribe to us on YouTube as well.
Streaming live from Weimar, America.
The Weimar period of the U.S. and
American years of lard, baby.
Yeah, the years of lard, baby.
All right.